Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 ugliest video game characters. For this list, we'll be looking at the monstrous characters created across the medium whose outgoing appearances were less than pleasant to look upon. There are a lot of ugly video game characters out there. If you think we missed a particularly nightmarish one, write about it in the comments. Number 20. The Banshees, Mass Effect 3. As their name would suggest, these tall, gangly opponents attack you by screaming, and subsequently blowing your head off with biotics. The Reapers already had quite the nasty habit of taking organic races and mutating them into some demented version of themselves, but what they did to the poor Asari was on a whole other level. Instead of angelically alien, the Banshee are distorted, vile things, capable of unleashing shrieks that will one-shot you, while also teleporting up close so you can get a good look at how their once beguiling visage has been tainted beyond comparison. Number 19. Birdie, Street Fighter franchise.
Shut up! I ain't gonna be doing this no more!
Birdie started out as a minor opponent you had to fight in the first Street Fighter game. However, over the years, he gained more notoriety and finally became a playable character in Street Fighter V. This means gamers can finally get a look at him, not that they necessarily want to. While Birdie apparently takes excellent care of his mohawk, he sort of let the rest of himself go. Perhaps he was born with his protruding jaw and huge lips, but he's got no one else to blame for the excessive gut, his unsanitary habit of licking chains, or those are earrings, right? I guess we can be grateful that he doesn't wear a form-fitting, mostly unzipped bodysuit like Rufus. Number 18. Falby, The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess.
Hi!
Falby was once a circus performer and now lives near Lake Hylia, renting out cuckoos to people who need to get across the lake. He still likes to maintain a showy appearance, however, with brightly colored puffy clothing, a dyed beard, and whatever that thing is on top of his head. He probably wouldn't even be on this list if it weren't for one small disturbing item. Because of his skimpy top, Falby's belly is exposed, and some depraved animator decided there should be dark, curly hair growing out of it. We are very sorry to have brought this to your attention, but sometimes the truth must be exposed. Of course, the truth and stomach hair are two very different things. Number 17. The Spitter, Left 4 Dead 2. The Green Flu may have no mercy when it comes to turning ordinary civilians into infected, but it was especially cruel with this now infamous undead sniper. However, it isn't wise to offer any sympathy, as the Spitter's nickname is at least accurate, her mutation enabling her to open up her mouth abnormally wide and spit corrosive stomach acid at you. Aside from being gross as all hell, the Spitter's projectiles will burn away your health at a rapid rate. We highly suggest pumping her full of lead, both to prevent her acidic onslaught and to do away with the images of her gnarly features. Number 16. The Twin Chefs, Little Nightmares. On a ship filled with ravenous gluttons, someone has to do the dirty work for preparing the food. It's just a shame that it has to be these two. Aside from being just as pronounced as the rest of carnivorous wastes of flesh hunting down Six, the chefs are especially uncomfortable to look at on account of watching them cleave produce while gasping for air through the layers of their obese, sagging faces. We don't care if they keep their kitchen relatively tidy, we are not sticking around to watch them make dessert. Number 15. Draman, Mortal Kombat: Deadly Alliance.
Round 1. Fight!
Even by Mortal Kombat standards, this resident of the Netherrealm is one hideous son of a gun, and that's saying a lot. Tortured for his crimes in life, Draman was born as a torturer of Oni, though not before he had all of his skin torn off, had his arms replaced by a club, and all that homicidal rage of his sealed away behind a less than comfortable looking mask. Draman is the whole monster package, and the idea that he may one day get a full next-gen reinvention fills us with dread. Nobody wants to see him toss flies up close.
Draman wins. Flawless victory.
Number 14. The Doctor, Dead by Daylight. The Doctor is famous for his ability to torture people into hallucinating and revealing their whereabouts so he can strut along and put them out of their misery, often with a sparky ending. So, you might be wondering why he looks like he's not been on the receiving end of severe shock therapy. Whether the Doctor deliberately created his look to frighten people, or just appears that way to the already broken minds, it's hard to say. All we know is the look is wholly effective at scaring the bejesus out of us. Number 13. Malphas, Devil May Cry 5.
I will enjoy this.
The likes of Dante and Nero have encountered no shortage of demons in their time, but Malphas might just take the cake as far as ugly is concerned. Being a three-headed demoness who wants to bring about the end times is one thing, but when your lower half is a giant disfigured baby bird that would make FromSoft proud, you know you're dealing with something truly repulsive. With her rampant attacks, you can bet you'll be seeing more of her squawking underside up close and personal throughout the entirety of the boss battle. We have never been so eager to hack poultry to pieces.
How do you have so much power left?
Number 12. Lord Zarok, Medieval.
And while Lord K prepares for your rematch, he sent some of his soldiers so you don't get bored.
Some of the characters on our list would probably be fine if they just altered their wardrobes a bit. Lord Zarok, however, has gone so far off the deep end that he's like a badly burned house. Substantial renovations needed to be made before we know if anything is salvageable. Even in a world filled with ghosts, ghouls, and a leading man who's a sentient skeleton with a single loose eyeball, Zarok stands out as the ugliest thing Gallimier has ever seen. Evil sorcerers always tend to have something glaringly wrong about them. But come on, can't you use a little magic to fix that mug of yours? It's really hard to look at.
Curse you, Fortescue, curse you, curse you! Thricefold.
Number 11. Queen Slug-for-a-Butt, Earthworm Jim. The name honestly tells you most of what you need to know. Queen Slug-for-a-Butt is the brutal leader of the insectoids, and as stated, her posterior is not pleasant to behold. It actually resembles a larva more than a slug, while her front section is similar to a skeletal centipede. All in all, she's a lethal combination of everything we find disgusting about nature in general, and would much rather go back to taking down evil goldfish than have to face her again. Number 10. Hecatoncheires, God of War Ascension. Kratos may have had his share of bad luck, but at the very least he wasn't turned into a living prison by the gods. Essentially a living level, the Hecatoncheires' entire body is an obstacle, building, and constructs forced into what was once a giant's flesh. If that's not disturbing enough, its ligaments are used to try and bring down Kratos by command of the Furies, mainly by infecting his arms until it spawns giant bug creatures. Poor bastard. Nobody deserves that. Number 9. Asylum Demon, Dark Souls. You never forget your first Souls boss, and for many, it was this beast with a bad temper, thick lower half, and one hell of a swing. It might be easy to make fun of the Asylum Demon these days in comparison to other eldritch horrors From Software has unleashed on the world, but every time this demonic sack of flesh comes crashing down, we can't help but be repelled. Don't spend too long staring, otherwise it's straight back to the bonfire, courtesy of this thing crushing you. Number 8. The Rat King, The Last of Us Part 2. We thought clickers were bad. Then along came bloaters, which were so much worse. And then we were introduced to the ultimate evolution in fungal-based undead, and wouldn't you know, it is horrifying. The Rat King has multiple heads, limbs, and growths, but they do seem to have agreed on at least one goal: trying to kill you. This monstrosity defies description, and the fact that it's able to function at all is a testament to the power of the infection that has doomed this world. Number 7. The Pack, Dead Space 2. Although the pack is technically made up of multiple zombies, they are all directed by one intelligence, so it is considered a single entity. A single entity composed of murderous reanimated children, that is. Members may vary a little in appearance depending on how they died, but for the most part, the pack is consistent. Infant faces, little legs, and of course, extra muscular arms with long claws so they can tear you apart. Forget about cutting off limbs in a coordinated attack. Shoot like crazy and hope you can outrun them before they carve out your innards. Number 6. Cerberus, Dante's Inferno. You've probably heard of Cerberus, the three-headed dog of Greek legend who guards the underworld for Hades, keeping living folk out and the dead in. Well, forget all of that, because the designers of Dante's Inferno decided to make Cerberus a huge multi-headed worm occupying one of the 9 rings of hell. Needless to say, it is far less fluffy. The amount of teeth, the way its slithering heads coil around, Cerberus is truly something that only could have been thought up in the fires of damnation. Number 5. The Master, Fallout.
So what shall it be? Do you join the Unity, or do you die here?
Join.
Die!
Join.
Die!
Founder of the Unity cult, the most powerful antagonist in Fallout, and the ugliest thing you can expect to find in the Wasteland, the Master sure left a hell of an impression. Once a man, the so-called Holy Flame gradually became an amalgamation of people, mutants, and machines, which is why he now looks like a goopy human head on top of a computer screen. His legacy is just as sinister, since his ploys lead to the creation of the super mutants, which, let's face it, aren't exactly easy on the eyes, and have been occupying the franchise ever since.
Of course. The mutants will survive. The mutants will rebuild this world. And only as a mutant will you be allowed to live.
Live.
Die!
Number 4. The Nightmare, Dragon Age Inquisition. A pretty fitting name, given that this entity is the source of all fear in the Fade. A demon that nearly brought an end to the Inquisitor and Hawk, the Nightmare appears in 2 forms, and don't worry, they're both extremely unpleasant. The smaller aspect of the Nightmare is a frantic skeletal being with a crown made of bladed tendrils that will swiftly snatch your life away. As for the bigger one, you'll luckily only see it for a moment. It looks like a giant thorny crab creature constructed from everything that goes bump in the night. This is why the dream world sucks.
Always the maker does.
Number 3. Asphyxia, Silent Hill Homecoming.
Jesus Christ! Holy
Leave it to Silent Hill to conjure up manifestations of humanity's worst traits into monstrous forms. And while you might expect the likes of a certain pyramid-headed gentleman to take the prize, even he pales in comparison to the guise of asphyxia. We're not sure what's worse, the fact she's a combination of bodies conjoined together lashing out in agony, or that she's a representation of a young girl who was suffocated by her mother for the sake of her religion. Inside out, this thing is ugly as sin. Number 2. Uma, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
How goes it? Vesemir's not working you too hard, I hope. Thought so.
Poor Uma. A gentle soul, but one fitting of his nickname, the ugliest man alive. He looks remarkably like a hunchback baby who suffered a lot of head trauma, spending most of his time hobbling around the castle at the whim of the Bloody Baron, collecting dead rats, and saying his own name. Thankfully, Geralt finds a means to undo such a condition and release Uma from his earthly tethers, though the process is agonizing. Uma truly knows nothing but suffering.
Now, calm down. Yennefer was right on one count. Things sure isn't pretty.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Arno Dorian, Assassin's Creed Unity.
Once I thought that meant we were free to do as we would. To pursue our ideals no matter the cost.
Surprised? You probably thought Arno, like the other male protagonists of the Assassin's Creed franchise, was a slim yet well-muscled hunk, and sometimes does in fact look that way. But have you ever seen his real face? Just kidding. This is a creepy glitch though, right? Anyways, let's get to the real number 1. Number 1. Dr. William Birkin, Resident Evil 2. The Resident Evil game series has created many memorable, disgusting creatures to its name. The bubbly Moreau, the smiley Nemesis, and of course whatever Lepotica is. But if you like your antagonists semi-human, with huge shoulder growth sprouting organs, and in a perpetual state of mutation, look no further. When virologist William Birkin was shot while working in the lab, he turned to the G-Virus and made himself a monster. Every time he assumes a new form, Birkin loses more and more of his human features until all that remains is crawling, sentient, murderous flesh. We need therapy after just a casual glance. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.